We're very, very pleased this morning to have one of the most incredible entertainers of our time. Ladies and gentlemen, a nice welcome now for the First Lady of Disco, Miss Donna Summer. How do you do, Donna? Well, Donna, let me just say that you've never been more beautiful.
Oh, thank you. I lied to you. I'm not really Donna Summer. I just wanted to be on television. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Please don't sue me or anything. I'm sorry. I'm really very, very sorry. I'm sorry.
I don't know what to say, ladies and gentlemen. We've been the victims of some sort of cruel hoax. The man told me he was Donna Summer. I believed him. I brought him out here. I gave him national time on television. What can you do? Well, we've got to take a pause for a station identification break. We'll continue this television program. Dr. Heinz Meng and his Falcons will be joining us. Also, Mrs. Marv Mendenhall will be here. And Loudon Wainwright III. All of this right after you take a look at this, folks. Thank you. Joining us in a couple of minutes, Michael Franks, and also the managing editor of Fortune magazine, William S. Rukeyser, will be here to talk about finance and so forth. We didn't really know that we could get this guy on. It was a possibility. Once every generation or so, a special kind of child performer comes along and steals America's heart. As I said, we really weren't sure that he was going to be here this morning, but we are certainly delighted that he is. Ladies and gentlemen, the star of Different Strokes, here's Gary Coleman. Gary, pleasure to have you on the show. Pleasure to have you. Thank you very much, Gary. You know, it's amazing to me that an 11-year-old child, what grade are you in exactly? Like the 5th grade? Would that be the...
Mr. Letterman, I lied to you. I'm not really Gary Coleman. I just wanted to be on television. Listen, I'm sorry. Please don't put me in jail. I'm sorry. I'll never do it again. I promise. I'm sorry. I really, really am sorry.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm stunned. An hour ago, the guy came up to me. He said, I'm Gary Coleman. I'm in town. I'd like to do the show. I said, great, Gary. We'd love to have you. And boy, is my face red. Well, let me try and get a hold of myself. Everything okay over there? Good morning. We're very excited today. In addition to having just generally a great show, we have a surprise. This next guest was in the building for an interview with, I believe, Tom Snyder, and she was kind enough to drop in, undoubtedly, TV's reigning sex symbol, and also a great comedic actress on the Top 10 Series 3's company. Ladies and gentlemen, Suzanne Somers. Hi. Nice to have you here. Let me, before we begin, you smell incredible.
Mr. Letterman.
And I have to say that you are more provocative in person than an attractive female.
Mr. Letterman, I lied to you. I'm not really Suzanne Somers. I just wanted to be on television. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. Please don't put me in jail. I'm sorry. I'll never do it again. I promise. I'm sorry. Really, I'm very sorry. I'm sorry.
Not less than an hour ago, the man told me he was Suzanne Somers. I'm so embarrassed. Welcome back to the show, and if you're just joining us, the Avon lady was here earlier. I'm so excited about my next guests. They dropped in unexpectedly. I don't think I'm exaggerating when I said they are two of the most popular, talented, attractive, versatile performers and biggest film stars in the entertainment industry today, as well as one of the most well-known couples anywhere. And I'm very excited that they came here on short notice. Please welcome Burt Reynolds and Sally Field, ladies and gentlemen. Bert, how are you? Nice to see you.
Thank you.
First of all, let me tell both of you, Sally and Bert,
Yes.
I have enjoyed your work for years.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Sally, congratulations on your Academy Award.
Thank you very much.
There's a lot of speculation now about whether or not you two kids are on again, off again.
Well,
Any talk of, marriage?
Well, we have kind of been thinking about it, haven't we, honey? Yes, but you know, Mr. Letterman, it's a really big step, and we want to be sure that we're doing the right thing. You know what it's like. So,
are you working on any?
Mr. Letterman, I can't go on with this. I lied to you. I'm not really Burt Reynolds and Sally Field. I just wanted to be on television. Listen, I'm sorry. I'm sick. I need help. I don't want to lead a life of crime. No, please don't put me in jail. I'm sorry. I'm scared. I'm sorry. I'll never do it again.
Ladies and gentlemen, all I can say is I'm sorry. Not more than an hour ago, the guy told me he was Burt Reynolds and Sally Field. We're going to have to tighten security in the building. That's all I can say. Rest assured, it won't be happening again. And we're going to pause now for station identification and have that man arrested and taken downtown. This show will continue after you folks at home take a look at this. Thank you very much. Welcome back to the extravaganza, ladies and gentlemen. My next guest, Martin Cruz Smith, is something of a Renaissance man. He has written about everything from gypsies to intrigue in the Vatican, and his latest novel, of which I have a copy here, Gorky Park, about a triple murder in the Soviet Union, is a runaway bestseller. Please welcome Martin Cruz Smith. Martin, how are you? Nice to see you, sir. How are you? Thank you very much. It's sort of the book corner tonight. I appreciate you being here. Your description of life in Russia is so convincing that it's actually hard to believe that you never lived there.
Well, Mr. Letterman, I worked there briefly in the mid-'70s as a journalist, but I did most of the legwork for the novel Long Distance from my home in New Mexico. It took a while to write, almost 8 years.
Well, in the book, the police find 3 bodies that have been pretty badly mutilated, and then they have to reconstruct their faces scientifically. Is that based on fact also?
Yes, there was once a case like that, although it occurred in France and not Russia. The police had to reconstruct the victims' faces, something like anthropologists might reconstruct a dinosaur from... I'm sorry, Mr. Letterman, I can't go through with this. I'm not Martin Cruz Smith. I lied. I just wanted to be on the show. I didn't write this book. I didn't even read this book, although it sounds very good. I'm sorry, Mr.
You're not
Letterman.
the
I'm
author?
sorry. I'm a sick man.
Who was that weasel? We're going to pause here, hose down the audience, collect our thoughts. We'll be right back with Ozzy Osbourne. Fortunately, we now have plenty of time for Dr. Leo Biscaglia, who'll be joining us, but I'm very excited about, this is good, despite what we've just been goofing around with. This is exciting. My next guest, one of the original members of America's premier rock and roll band, not just the group's drummer, of course, but one of the composers of a number of their classic song hits from the Eagles. Please welcome Don Henley. I guess you know you've worked with Paul Schaefer before, Don?
Oh, yes. Hi, Paul. How are you? Hi.
Good to see you.
Yeah. How did the group, the Eagles, you've been together 15, 20 years now?
Oh yes.
How did you get started?
Well, we all lived in Southern California, Mr. Letterman, and we were all playing the small showcase clubs back then. You know, a lot of us actually were starting out at about the same time. There was Jackson Browne and Linda Ronstadt and J.D. Souther.
Yeah, must have been very exciting.
Oh, yes, it was very
Yeah.
exciting.
Yeah. You once, I don't know if I should bring this up, but you once lived with Ronald Reagan's daughter and actually wrote a song with her?
Oh, yes, that's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Do you still get along with the Reagans?
Oh, yes, we still keep in touch, yes.
Yeah, that's exciting. If you don't mind, I'm going to put you on the spot. Things are a little hectic tonight because we didn't know if you were going to be here, and I know you didn't get to rehearse, but I would love it if you could do a song with the boys, and I know the audience would love it.
Well, Mr. Letterman, I'm sorry, Mr. Letterman, I got here kind of late. We didn't have a chance to rehearse at all or anything like that. I just don't think so. Thank
just
you.
a short one.
You guys
will.
We could do, yeah, we know Hotel California.
Okay. Don Henley, ladies and gentlemen. Don Henley of the Eagles.
3, 4.
Mr. Letterman, I'm sorry. I can't go through with this. I'm not Don Henley. I lied to you. I'm sorry, Mr. Letterman. I just wanted to be on the show. I'm sorry. I'm a sick man. I need help. Please, I'm sorry. Please don't put me in jail. I'm sorry. I don't need to be in the movie. I'm very sorry.
I don't know what to say. I'm stunned. He told me 20 minutes ago. I thought you said that you knew Don Henley.
Well, everybody was in a kind of a nutty mood that night. I know somebody from the Eagles was supposed to have been there. Maybe it was a roadie or something. I don't know. But...
Well, I can't tell you how embarrassed I am about this. I can only apologize again. We'll be right back. Perhaps Leo Biscaglia can clear this up for us.
Little children, help us have more fun and plug his new book, Noble House.
The distinguished author, James Clavell.
Thank you very much for being on the show. You must be very busy. You have a brand new book, Noble House, and
yes.
I think that you'll have to agree that the television version of your book, Shogun, really was more successful than anybody ever hoped it would. Has that helped you with your writing or hurt you?
Yeah, well, Dave, may I call you Dave?
Please do,
okay?
James.
Oh, yes. Well, it's a funny thing. What fame does to a person after the success of the book is it actually gives the writer the satisfaction of knowing that his work is reaching the widest possible audience. You know, it's funny because the TV version of Shogun actually gave me a ready-made audience for Noble House.
That's great. Now, Shogun, of course, was set in the Orient, and Noble House is also about the Orient. And why would you choose the same geographic topic?
Well, actually, David, if you think about it a little, you'll see that they are two very different books. You see, Shogun concerns the Japan of the 16th century, but in Noble House, I decided to tell a story about contemporary Hong Kong. You know, if there are any comparisons to be made, I hope that the reader doesn't make them between the two books, but between the two eras. Mr. Letterman, I'm sorry, I can't go through with this. I lied to you. I'm not James Clavell. I didn't write Noble House. I didn't even read Noble House. It was too long. I'm sorry, I just wanted to be on a special. I'm sorry, I'm a sick man. I need help. I'm sorry. I just can't seem to console myself. Does anybody have a Tylenol? I'm sorry.
I don't know what to say. I'm so embarrassed. He told me he was James Clavell. We're going to pause here, regroup. We'll be back. Letter number 2, ladies and gentlemen. Some idiot broke in through our kitchen window and opened up one of our sliding doors and proceeded to back up a truck and just absolutely clean us out. This is a sad story. They got all of the TVs, the microwave, the Betamax, jewelry, all of my camera equipment, and silver. Sounded like a real professional job, as they probably weren't in the house more than 15 minutes. Then they even took the mattress off our bed. And it's signed J.E. You know, I hate reading about things like this. We've got to do something about this rising crime rate. So I'm going tonight to plead with the people who stole this stuff, wherever you may be watching this program, please bring the articles back to our studio. I'll turn my back so your anonymity will be protected. I'll just wait. Just bring it on in and all will be forgiven. Just wait here for a moment. Is it, Well, that's a darn shame. I guess there really is nothing one man can do. I was hoping that somehow something could be done, but let's just go on, shall we? It's a sick world we find ourselves in. Letter number 3 comes to us from Cliff Hone of Van Nuys, California. It says, you did a sketch a while ago about the 1982 World's Fair, but there was one bit involving a ventriloquist's dummy that you opted not to do. It was right before the Chuck Vera salute. I feel it is grossly unfair of you to deprive us of this bit of humor, no matter how pathetic it may have been. Well, we'll show you now some videotape of what Mr. Hone is referring to. We took a little trip to the World's Fair in Knoxville, and watch now on the monitors, and this is what Cliff is talking about. Well, let's see. We may come back to this little guy here, all right? And this is a good place. Well, we never really did go back to that little guy, and we didn't go back to the little guy, Cliff, because we didn't want to hurt your feelings. But since you insist, let's take a look at that piece as it played in rehearsal, and Cliff Hone, I think you'll see why we never used it.
Hey, thanks very much. Gee, it's great to be back at the World's Fair. Say, why does Cliff Hone have a flat nose? He's been chasing too many parked cars. Say, how many members of the Hone family does it take to screw in a light bulb? Well, there's Sister Billy, Brother Bob, and Cliff. Cliff holds the ladder. Hey, I may be a dummy, but I'm no Cliff Hone. I'm no Cliff Hone. I'm no Cliff Hone.
Well, I think we have a fine show for you folks tonight. We didn't receive the stolen goods as I had hoped. We have comedian Jay Leno. He'll be here. Clara McAllister will be back to defend her elevator races title. Also comedian Valerie Bromfield. And from... Thank you very much. Isn't that amazing? Isn't that wonderful? I feel terrific. At least one good thing has happened so far here tonight. Yes, sir.
Mr. Letterman, I have to tell you something. I lied to you. I didn't steal this mattress. I brought it from home. I just saw another opportunity to get on the show. I'm sorry.
My.
I'm a very sick man, really. I'm sorry. I know that I need help. It's not funny. It's really sad. I'm so sorry. Does anybody have a bromo cell, sir? I'm sorry. Please. I hope I didn't ruin anything. I'm terribly sorry. Really, I don't know what comes over me. I'm sorry.
We're going to pause. We'll be right back with Jay Leno. You know, it's nights like this that I'm sorry we only have 90 minutes. But before we end the festivities here tonight, and you all go out to your Christmas parties or home to spend the time with your families, I received a very special letter this week that I felt I had to share with you, and I'll read it for you right now. Dear Mr. Letterman, I am a little girl 7 years old, and I still believe in Santa Claus. The kids I go to school with jeer at me and taunt me because they say there's no such thing. My parents tell me there is a Santa Claus, and I don't know who to believe. So I am writing to you because I know that since you are on national television, everything you say has to be true. Please, is there a Santa Claus? And it's signed, Little Connie. Well, you know, Connie, there is a Santa Claus, and to prove it, we have him here tonight. Would you please welcome my next guest, Santa? Santa, nice to see you. Fine, nice to be here. You are the real Santa Claus.
Yes, David, I am.
Well, thank you very much for being here. I would like you to answer a couple of questions for us. Do you have a lot of helpers, a lot of elves?
Well, in fact, Dave, I have thousands of helpers. You know, in fact, everybody who believes in me is really one of my helpers.
Now, are they organized? Do you have a union?
Yes, there is a union, as a matter of fact, Local 458. All the helpers get medical and dental benefits, just like all the other unions
Now,
do.
I've always wondered about your reindeer. How do you get the reindeer to fly?
Well, you know, you just sort of get up on the roof and you take off from the top of the building and you say, giddy ass, giddy ass.
And they just take off?
And they take off.
Let me ask you about the list of good boys and bad little girls. Do you actually keep a list of who's been good and who's been bad?
Definitely, David, certainly.
Mm-hmm. Do you have that list with you here tonight?
The list, sure I have it, David. I have it someplace.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. David, I had it when I left home. Mr. Letterman, I can't go through with this. I'm not the real Santa Claus. I'm sorry. I'm just a sick man who needs help. I'm sorry. I just saw another opportunity to be on television, and I took it. I'm sorry, Mr. Letterman. I can't seem to control my behavior. I don't know what's the matter with me. I think maybe I'm not getting enough zinc or something. I don't know.
Well, it's been quite a night, hasn't it? I'd like to thank everyone who helped make this an extra special Christmas for us. Thanks for watching. Have a good night and a pleasant weekend. We'll see you New Year's. Let's see where we are. Letter number 4 we're up to now comes to us from Elizabeth Callahan, Champion, Pennsylvania. Boy, for a semi-famous talk show host, you sure are loose in the brain department. I just finished watching your Christmas special, and once again, you and your evidently not too swift staff were too stupid to recognize that jerk who keeps pretending to be someone he isn't. Tell me that nobody on your staff knew what the author of Gorky Park looks like, and if you guys don't know what Santa Claus looks like, I just have to question your IQ levels. This is why I want to help. Remember this description of this guy so you won't be tricked by his neurotic attempts to be on your show in the future. He's balding, he wears glasses, and he is the ultimate definition of a wimp. It's signed Elizabeth Callahan, Champion, Pennsylvania. Well, Elizabeth, this letter intrigued us so much that we, of course, asked her to fly in here to be on our program to talk with us in person. It's the first time we've flown a viewer in. Please, ladies and gentlemen, welcome Elizabeth Callahan from Champion, Pennsylvania. How do you do? Nice to see you. Thank you. This letter, nice to meet you.
Oh, nice to meet you, David.
It intrigued us so much that we wanted you to fly in here in person, and yeah, I couldn't help but notice you sounded quite upset in the letter.
Yes, David. As a matter of fact, I was very upset. You see, I don't like to see that kind of thing happen to somebody like you over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry,
Yeah.
just don't.
Well, that's very thoughtful of you, and our viewers are very special people.
Oh, yes, I know, David. As a matter of fact, I'm a big fan of the show, and it really angers me that this guy can pull the wool over your eyes, and at the same time, he takes work away from talented people who want to break. And Mr. Letterman, I can't go through with this. I'm sorry. I'm not Elizabeth Callahan. Look, I'm just a confused, sick man. I'm sorry, Mr. Letterman. I know I shouldn't do these things. I'm sorry. I think maybe I don't get enough fiber in my diet. I don't know. I'm sorry, I'll never do it again, I promise. I'll never ever do it again.
I bet he doesn't get enough fiber in his diet. Well, we're going to continue. We have to pause briefly. We'll be right back with Jerry Cooney right after this. Thank you, and welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. My next guest is the first British member of Parliament we've ever had on this show.
Thank you. Now, Dave. Look at this. Thank you. Thank you all very much. Thank you. Nice crowd here tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Great. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you all. Thank you. Now, David,
It's Bob
please.
Hope, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you all very much. David, please, I don't want you to say a word because I've just got a minute. You know, I was just across the hall. But I just had to come over to tell you about a big benefit that I've got coming up. It's at the Westdale Civic Center and Dinner Theater, and it's called Bob Hope's Star-Studded Celebrity Salute for Strep Throat. Hey, and I tell you, Dave, just listen to who we got. You know, we've got 4 of the most beautiful women in the world. We have Morgan Fairchild, Linda Carter, Brooke Shields, and Milton Berle. And Milty was great. You know, we had to lock him up, though, because he kept stealing Brooke's jeans. Hey, Paul. Hey, how you doing, Paul? How's everything going? Nice to see you again. Okay, you know, that band you've got there, Dave, they are just wild men. You know, I hear they just flew in from L.A. and they didn't use a plane. Hey, and you know... Sorry about that, buddy. Okay. Hey, and you know, Linda Carter sings on our show, and it's just great. She's got a wonderful voice, but look where it's been. And, you know, don't forget... Hey, you know, and don't forget, girls, we've got Burt Reynolds, that's right. And, you know, and that guy, Burt Reynolds, just kills me. You know, I've got a chest just like that guy, only
What's the matter, Bob?
I'm sorry, Mr. Letterman, I can't finish this joke. It's a really good joke, but it's not for me. I'm not Bob Hope. I'm not even half his age. I'm sorry, Mr. Letterman. I just saw another chance to get on your show. I'm sorry, I'm a very sick man. I'll go quietly. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Good night. Drive safely. Always makes me want to drink. Does that make you folks want to drink when you hear that? Well, we'll get them for you. Don't you worry. In the next half hour, stuntman and director of car crash movies H.B. Toby Halicki, ventriloquist Senior Wences, and tomorrow night, Steve Wright, and also author Emily Prager will be here, and Miss Rose Bowl. Now, for our studio audience and for all of our late-night viewers across the country, we have a very special holiday treat. Here, raising their voices in celebration of this blessed season, are some very talented young people. They represent a long tradition of musical excellence and service to their country. Please welcome from the U.S. Air Force Academy at Colorado Springs, the United States Air Force Academy Choir.
Hark how the bells, sweet silver bells, all seem to say, throw cares away. Ding dong, Christmas is here, ring in good cheer, to young and old, meek and the bold. Ding dong, ding dong. Hark how the bells, sweet silver bells, all seem to say, throw cares away. Ding dong, ding dong. Mr. Letterman, I'm sorry, Mr. Letterman, I can't go through with this. I lied to you. I'm not really the U.S. Air Force Academy Choir. I'm sorry. I just saw a chance to get on television in Christmas week. I'm sorry, Mr. Letterman. I'm a very sick man and I need help. I don't know what makes me do these things. I'm sorry. Does anybody have any lecithin you could give me for Christmas? I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. I didn't mean to ruin your evening. I'm sorry. I'm just a given person. I'm really sorry. I'll never do this again. I promise. I'm so sorry.
He needs lecithin, ladies and gentlemen. The man needs lecithin. I'm embarrassed to tears over this development. The guy told me he was the Air Force Academy Choir. Obviously, he needs lecithin. Well, we're going away again, darn. We'll be right back with stuntman director H.B. Toby Halicki. Thank you, Paul. And it is toasty. Later, we'll try and talk about your hit, Paul.
Yeah,
Paul has a hit. We'll talk about that a little bit later. With Christmas only 4 days away, many of the nation's retailers are completely sold out of this year's most popular toy items. Moms and dads who have left all their shopping to the last minute may find that mountain of Fall Guy four-wheelers is now nothing but an empty shelf. However, the late-night staff has discovered a number of toys that, for some reason, are still available in large quantities this week. Let's take a look at them, shall we? Well, this year the Smurfs have stolen the hearts of countless children. Now for the science-minded youngster, there's the new visible Smurf. Yes, the clear plastic abdomen reveals all the major organ groups as well as the oxygen-starved blood that makes the Smurf do those silly stunts. Makes the Smurfs do those silly stunts, the oxygen-starved Smurfs. There you go. Now, hard economic times can present tough career choices to young people. With the Lil Pawnbroker set, kids learn that the financial suffering of others can be a real bonanza to them. This set comes complete with pawn tickets, glass case, shotgun, which is right here, of course, everything you'll need to become scavengers of human misery. Yes, it's the Lil Pawnbroker set there. Now, for generations, families have enjoyed that challenging word game, Scrabble. Even so, the game has always had one drawback. It's all skill. Well, now the new electric Scrabble adds an extra dimension of confusion and turmoil to the popular board game. Letters now swarm randomly about, giving even the youngest infant a chance to win. Here it is, electric Scrabble. And the noise doesn't affect your concentration. No problem here. Yes, there you go. Electric Scrabble, ladies and gentlemen. Boys and girls, as you know, can waste hours of time playing with silly putty, accomplishing absolutely nothing as they do so. Now, this new toy, Sensible Putty, shown here, it may not bounce, but it's just what your son or daughter needs to practice bathroom caulking and window sealing. Yes, let other kids throw their lives away peeling up pictures from comic strips. Your kid's future is right here in this can, ladies and gentlemen. Sensible Putty. Oh, stop. No, it's not necessary. Well, it was only a matter of time before America's most glamorous teenager became a high-fashion doll. I'm speaking, of course, of the Brooke Shields doll right here. She will even talk now. If you pull the little string on the Brooke Shields doll, there you go.
Hello, I'm Brooke Shields, and I want to be your very best friend. I have many exciting outfits, and you can give me a wonderful new hairstyle, and I'm sorry, Mr. Letterman. I can't go through with this. I'm not the Brooke Shields doll. I just saw another opportunity to get on television. I'm sorry. I'm a sick toy. I promise I'll never do it again. Has anyone got
Kind of nice. Well, there you go. All right, now, Well, here's a progressive toy. Let me get this out for you and show you how this works. This is the Mahatma Gandhi passive resistance punching bag. While youngsters pound away at the Hindu man of peace, he'll be teaching them a lesson in the futility of violence. There's Mahatma Gandhi. Pacifist or just plain yellow, you be the judge. It's the Mahatma Gandhi punching bag. Oh, stop. These are only jokes. Okay, now where? Oh, this is good. Watch your little leaguer's eyes light up when he sees this unique baseball glove. This is the Rawlings A202 Lee Liberace model. This, of course, has the deep well pocket, rhinestone trim, and scented ermine lining. Now, you have to hurry if you want one of these. The manufacturer has decided not to renew Liberace's contract as spokesman for its sporting goods firm. They claim his recent palimony suit had nothing to do with their decision, however. The Lee Liberace fielder's glove. Yeah, glad you did. Here's something every Barbie fan will want. It's Barbie's parking space. Little girls can have hours of educational fun helping Barbie pull out and then park again. Doll and convertible purchased separately. At a recent convention, this was voted Toy of the Year for 1982. See, all you get here is the parking space. See, this is it right there. That's all you get. Oh, no, please, look. Toy of the Year. This son of a bitch was Toy of the Year. All right, now, and finally, the cool kids know that every fun activity involves the danger of poking someone's eye out. Finally, there's a game for them. The game's called Put an Eye Out. And it lets kids aim a hail of projectiles at a giant eye trying to take over the city. This is not for sale in Michigan, Colorado, or West Virginia. All right. One shot here at the eye. Safety is still on, huh? Oh, okay, there you go. New gift items. We have to pause. We'll be right back. Don't you worry about a thing. Susan K. Gillespie is here.
February 4th, 1983, a date that will live forever in history. Tonight is the gala one-year anniversary special of Late Night with David Letterman, a red-letter day for those of us in the industry. And by the industry, of course, I mean the business. And for sentimental Americans everywhere. The stock market enjoyed its highest day of trading ever. The international press is out in force along with the paparazzi. And New York is literally buzzing over the list of celebrities who are going to be arriving any time now for what promises to be the party to end all parties. I'm Army Archer, the voice of Hollywood and friend of the stars, and I've flown in from the coast especially for this event. The limousines have been arriving all day, chock full of many of the marvelous stars from the show. And here's one of them right now. He's none other than the biggest star of Late Night, Captain Haggerty. And good to see you. Lovely Howard Taylor is arriving now with his date. One of the Late Night players, Mary Margaret Bannon. And it looks to me that they're quite an item both on and off the show. And familiar to the Late Night viewers, the three-time winner and undefeated champion of elevator races, Clara McAllister. And the rock superstar, the boss himself, Bruce Springsteen, looking very well. And of course, the president of Melman Productions, Larry Bud Melman, and his son, the multi-talented Mr. Troy Chipper Melman. Well, last night must have been a very, very touching night for you. Can you tell us about it?
Yes, we hugged each other and cried a lot.
Oh, really?
Army, let me tell you something.
Not right now, not right now.
He's a humanitarian and one of the great
We know that. I'm sorry, we don't have time because right now, let's go on with the show.
A lot of time, folks, one of the questions people ask me on a regular basis is your television program edited? And when this question comes up, I can only scoff and say, No, there is no need to edit our television program whatsoever. But lately, under more tough questioning, we have been forced to change our story. So tonight, we are going to show you the reason, and it's always with good reason, that this program is edited. Periodically, things do go wrong. Every talk show host's nightmare, boy, it's mine, is offending a guest. And this does happen occasionally, and as a result, you have to take a few things out. Watch the monitors. And the project you're currently involved in, Edwin, is another NBC white paper. What is the topic of the white paper this time? But don't handle that any more than you need to. Oh, I'm sorry. We have a new man making the coffee. Jeez. So I didn't write the introduction. These are written days in advance. They're written for me. Even in my own daily speech, I don't use the phrase lowlife. Please accept my apology. Now, sometimes what seems like a perfectly good idea turns out badly, like the time I brought my lovable dog Bob onto the show. It's all right. No, don't worry about it. No, well, he'll be okay. Easy, Bob. That's a good dog. I bet he smells your dog. Don't worry about it. Come on. Now, when you're booking about a dozen guests a week to be on this program, you're always going to have a couple of slip-ups. You don't play tennis professionally?
No.
Do you play it at all?
No.
Have you ever been to a tennis tournament?
No.
Who booked you for the show, do you?
I don't really know.
Hi, if you've just joined us, we're here with someone who, until a few minutes ago, we were positive was Andrea Yeager. Where are you from?
Pennsylvania.
Cosa show? Io πολύ ευχαριστημένος μαζί σου. Πολύ ωραίο show. Πολύ καλό.
Okay. Ma'am, do you think you could give us a hand here? Have a seat. Ask him who told him he could be on the show.
Talar ni svenska? De vill veta varför ni är här, vem som har bjudit hit er. De vet inte varför ni har kommit hit. Förstår ni vad jag säger?
Så förstår på μιλάς έτσι ωραία.
It's not Swedish. Oh, it's not Swedish.
Så förstår på μιλάς στο δικό σου show. Ευχαριστώ.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. And, of course, every now and then something completely unexplainable will happen, and we've had to edit a few of those out. I was under the impression that liquid nitrogen is a very volatile chemical.
Well, it's cold. It's not exactly volatile.
Yeah. But dangerous for kids to be handling it. Pardon me. Excuse me. Excuse me. Do you have to do that now?
Well, it's going to take about half an hour for the coals to get hot enough.
Yeah, but we're right in the middle of the show, and I was wondering if you could do it somewhere else.
Well, I tried earlier to do it out in the hall, but the security guard, was giving me a hard time about it.
Well, I'm sorry, that's not my problem. You can't do it here.
Well, it's going to take a while, and if you're going to be the first one to complain if the coals aren't hot.
I have no idea how that happened. Many people ask me if audience rowdiness is ever a problem. Well, we have great audiences, but occasionally it'll happen. Yeah, by the door. You. Yeah, right. You know damn well what I'm talking about, pal. And finally, a guest will come on with a bad attitude, and I'll lose my patience. This will happen occasionally. Okay, these are all reasons that we have had to edit our show in the past. Jay Leno will be coming out here in a couple of minutes, so come on back after you watch this.
Thank you.
Thank you. My thanks to Paul and Bill, our fine production staff, our fine technical crew. A special thanks to Barbara and Jude. Thank you, Barbara. Yeah. Jude. And everybody who's been with us the last 2 years, certainly hope it isn't the last 2 years. And we'll see you again on Monday. Thank you, folks. Have a good weekend. Good night.